All right, welcome to Talkin' Investing. I am Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today, I want to do our daily Bitcoin and Bitcoin miner update. So the Bitcoin miners were all over the place today, so I want to go through what went on, and I want to take a real close look at Bitcoin because I think it's moved into a range. We'll also go through a couple of Bitcoin miners in specific that I want to look at. So you guys know we cover Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners all the time on this channel, and if you're new to this channel, remember to subscribe and to hit the notification bell. Also, if everybody would please smash the like button, I would appreciate it. It helps the channel out a lot. Let's look at Bitcoin, and let's start out with the Bitcoin miner big board. The trading day is over today, so these are the final numbers for the day. Okay, so you're going to see a lot of green, and you're going to see some red. There's 5 Bitcoin miners that were red today, and the rest of the Bitcoin miners were green. And I will tell you, for most of the day, they were much higher than this. So although some of these had very nice days, RIOT finished up 9.5%, but it was up 15%. Bitfarms finished up 4.5%, but it was up 11% earlier. So everything pulled back near the end of the day, and when we get to the chart, you'll see why. We did have a little pullback in the last 15 minutes of the day, but we were trending downward most of the day from our highs. But if you look at this, you're going to see some big numbers here. Argo Blockchain was up 18%. DigiHost was up 10%. Marathon and RIOT were both up 9%. Iris Energy put out a press release. I did a video. It's right here if you want to watch it. And I went through what that is. And although they are down on the day on that press release, I actually think it was some mixed news and it was not as bad as people reacted to it, in my opinion. WULF was down 10.5%. That's one of the ones we're going to look at today. I want to talk just a little bit about that one. Mawson was down almost 5% and Cypher was down 6.5%. So I'll give you just a minute to look at the board and you can find any of the miners that you're interested in. Okay, so let's look at Bitcoin on the 15-minute time frame. This was the opening candle for the equity markets in the US today. So the top of this candle was at 21,588. About an hour later, we did get up to 21,711. So that was our high on the day, 21,711. The high on the day yesterday was 21,041. So on Friday, so Bitcoin was trading at 20,493 when the equity markets closed on Friday. We had a long weekend in the US, although I know everybody else was trading. We meandered down all day, and then this was the last candle of the day, and this was straight down. So we kind of started on a high and ended on a low, but even with that, you still had things like RIOT and Marathon up almost 10% on the day today. So there was an awful lot of action today. Last Friday, we closed at 20,493, and again, that was above our very long-term line of support I put this line at 20,000. It's actually a little lower than that in reality. This line represents the all-time high from the previous bull cycle that Bitcoin had. So that goes back 4.5 years ago. I put that at 20,000 because I think that's a psychological line as well. So you'll see that after the market closed on Friday, we did have one 4-hour candle that brought us down below that line. And then we really had a push down hard on big volume all the way down to about 17,500. So it looked like we really took this line of support out and maybe we were in big trouble. We were heading down fast. However, this did stop, turn around, and run right back up to the line at 20,000. So I'm going to go to the daily chart so that you can see. This very small green candle right here was Friday, so that was still above our line at 20,000. So again, at that point, as of Friday, that was 4.5 years of support. On Saturday, we had a red line with a red candle. So this line went way below our $20,000 line of support and it closed below that. So we had one day where we closed below this. However, the next day we had a very big green candle and closed right back above this line of support. So this did not prove to be resistance at all. We landed there one day and got right back above it. This red candle, which you can hardly see, this is Monday, which was well above the $20,000 line. It was around 20,500. And then this green candle is today, which is also well above the $20,000 line. We only ever closed just this one day here below this line. So while this is definitely a new number, this is our new low for the last several years. And it's around, again, it looks like it was 17,567. So that is the new low for the year 2022. And of course, that's lower than we got in 2021. So that's a multiple multiple year low. However, we are still above this line of support at the moment, so I'm still looking at this $20,000 line. And what I'm looking at is in specific is this looks like it's going to be 3 days in a row that we've closed above this line. So of course, I don't think any of us are going to be surprised if we turn around and retest these lows. And I do have on my next page a few lower price targets. However, I'm not as focused on those. Right now, it does appear we've made a move to the upside, and everything is indicating that we're going to go a little bit sideways and or maybe up a little bit for the next little while. It's hard to say what a little while is in Bitcoin anymore. Sometimes that turns out to be 2 or 3 days. Sometimes it turns out to be 2 or 3 weeks. So we will see. So the first thing I want to show you is the daily RSI, which on June 18th got down to 20. So that is historically low levels. It has only been down there a few times in its history. The last time it got below this was in March of 2020. So if that tells you anything, this is a multiple year low. So you can see we have now gone from 20. We are back over 30 as of today. We're at 30.86, so almost 31. This is where I believe we're in for some sideways action or potentially a little bit of upward action, because we are now back into this 30 to 50 range. And Bitcoin tends to go sideways. So this was the entire month of May. The RSI moved all the way up from oversold. We popped over 50. We kind of faked out 2 times. However, in this whole run, this was only about a $3,000 run for Bitcoin, because most of Bitcoin's big runs tend to take place when the daily RSI gets over 50. So this entire build up to getting to 50 got rejected, and then it got rejected again. So we had slightly sideways and slightly upwards activity. So that's what I'm looking at right now. Now, obviously, we could turn around and tank again tomorrow. Who knows? But this is the MACD, so you can see the histogram is headed back in the right direction. So it looks like, according to this, it looks like we've hit at least a local bottom. Our MACD lines are moving towards a bullish crossover, but we are not really near that yet. So we're going to have to see over the next coming days if we can do that. But all the momentum based on the RSI, based on the MACD, everything seems to be telling the same story, that a little bit sideways, a little bit up. Now, you guys have seen over the last few months, sometimes the technicals have been dead wrong. So I'm just showing you what I'm looking at, and we'll see what happens. So the range that I think we're going to bounce in between, unless we can get over 50 on the daily RSI, I think we have a little bit of a floor here at 20,000, although we did close below it one day. At the moment, I'm going to consider this still a solid line of support. The next thing we have is this is the 200-week moving average. Now, this is only the 3rd time in the history of Bitcoin that we have moved under the 200-week moving average. My next price point on the downside would be 30% below this line, because both of the times that we crossed this line in the past, we ended up having a 30% pullback. So that would be a little lower than we went. But I'm not looking at that right now. I'm looking at this as the potential next line of resistance. So we have moved below this line. We have not retested it yet. So I would be looking potentially to go back and retest the 200-week moving average. That's looking like it's somewhere around 22,500. So we're at about 20,800 right now. So I would say 20,000 as support and 22,500 as potential resistance. That's only a $2,500 range. That's about the range we traveled in for the entire last time that the RSI went from oversold to over 50. So it was not a big move, and I'm looking for something similar to happen again. So I'm not saying that's what I want to happen. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. It just looks like that's what we're moving into right now. If we do take out the $20,000 line of support again, then my short-term line of support would be that 30% pullback from the 200-week moving average, and that's going to be at about 15,700. So in my mind, I think we're going to hang out between 20,000 and 22,500 for a little while. However, if we break to the downside, I'm looking at about 15,700 as the next price target. Okay, let's take a look at a couple of Bitcoin miners in specific. As we look at RIOT, bear in mind, Marathon's chart is very similar. So if you're looking at one, you're almost looking at the other. Now, they're 2 very different companies. I'm not saying they're the same. However, their charts tend to mirror each other. So with RIOT, you're going to see that they crossed back over $5 today to $5.09. They had a very big up day. This still leaves them very close to their 52-week low and very far off of even their 90-day high. So I believe there's an awful lot of room left to the upside with RIOT. Now, obviously, this is going to be dependent on the action in Bitcoin to a certain extent. If Bitcoin crashes again, then I would not expect to retest any of these higher numbers. But if we look at RIOT's low, on June 13th, RIOT hit $4.36. So that was its low. It's now at $5.09. So that's about 15%. Now, if we we were to take out our previous lines of support, you know, there's maybe 15 to 25% realistically to the downside. Obviously, I have to say the downside of all of these is potentially zero. It's been that kind of year with these stocks, but you guys need to do your own due diligence and see if this is a stock that you want to invest in. So having looked at the downside being maybe 15 to 25% within reason, if I look at the upside just back to May 31st, so that was 3 weeks ago, that would be a 54% increase in the price of RIOT stock. So that's just 3 weeks worth of activity. So I think that that is a very realistic short-term price target. And by short-term, I don't mean in the next few days, and it may not even be in the next few weeks. But I do think over a 90-day period, if Bitcoin gets healthy at all, we should easily be able to get back to this line, which is at around $7.90. So that would be about a 55% increase in the price of RIOT. On May 4th, RIOT was trading for about $11.50. So if we could get back to that point, that's a 126% increase in the price of RIOT stock. So those two things to me are very realistic, you know, 3 to 6 month price targets for RIOT, maybe sooner. So if we go back 3 months, that is a 375% increase in the price of this stock. So while that is not my price target, it is not at all unrealistic to think that if Bitcoin gets healthy and makes a run and gets back up into that $40,000 range, we may start to see some numbers like this, because RIOT is performing very well, in my opinion, operationally. So if they continue to perform well and Bitcoin starts to perform well, I think this is a potential price target for the end of the year. So again, not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence. Like I said, this stock is down 95% off of its highs. So all these Bitcoin mining stocks are extremely volatile. Let's look at just one more. Okay, I want to look at TeraWulf, stock ticker WULF. TeraWulf closed the day today at $1.86. So you can see that's down almost 96%. And that is just from, I'm on the monthly time frame right here. So that is just from September of 2021. So this stock is down 96% in a very short period of time. One of the reasons this stock is cascading is they have not told us how many Bitcoin mining machines they have. They have not told us their exahash rate. They have not told us how many, if any, Bitcoin they've mined. We are really in the dark. Although they continue to give press releases, they're really not saying anything, in my opinion. And I think when they do finally say something, I am a little bit worried about what they're going to say. So I am not trading this stock. And again, this is not financial advice. You guys can do your own risk reward on this. You can see it's down 96%. So there's lots of room to the upside if they get healthy. However, the liquidity scares me on this one. Let me know if you want me to do a deep dive on TeraWulf. Is anybody following this stock or trading this stock? Do we care about TeraWulf? If so, let me know, and I will do a deeper dive and I will do a video on this. They've got to disclose what's going on. So those are my thoughts on TeraWulf. This was a big day in Bitcoin today, so we'll stay tuned and see what happens tomorrow. If you made it this far, remember to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.